Blessings, everyone. Today is Fruitful Friday. I am inspirational author, life speaker, and yes, a surrendered rope of hope, Angelina Squire. So today, our video is inspired by, Joseph the dreamer in Genesis chapter 50. We all know the story about Joseph, the dreamer, where his brothers became envious of him and they thrown him into a pit, right, which they thought would be the end of him. So tonight video again is centered around Joseph the dreamer. Now think for a moment. His father made him a coat, this very distinctive, unique coat. Can you imagine his brothers looking at that and they're saying, well, where is our coat? What's so special about him? And then on top of that, now Joseph began to share, these dreams, with them. So that added even more heat to the fire, right? So they just hated him all the more. So as you go down in chapter 50, we're going to go down to where now you have the brothers, right? They're now looking down on the floor. Now there has been a famine in the land, right? There's no food. So now they have to come and face Joseph. They're now before the very one in whom they hated, right? The one that they thrown into the pit. Listen, you can't bury what God intends to use for his purpose. I'm going to say that again. You cannot bury, you cannot kill, you cannot destroy, you cannot sabotage who God intends to use for his purpose, his glory. Now the brothers are facing the very one again that they mocked, the one they saw no value in, because if they saw any value, they wouldn't have hated him for the dreams that he shared with them, right? Now, I love this part about when they're looking at Joseph, he's now dressed in a way that let others know and let the brothers know that Joseph is indeed now someone of great authority, right? And not only that, but he has the authority to even execute them. So whatever you're going through right now, you may have been kicked to the curb, thrown into a pit, so to speak, by someone. And you've done nothing but right by them. You shared your dreams and goals with them because you saw, a bigger picture. You didn't just see yourself in it, but you saw it as a means to not only bless you and your family, but to bless them as well, and even the world. Just like Joseph, God is getting ready to put you in a position, power. He's going to even change your wardrobe. How about that? So now when these same people see you, they're going to know that truly that God was with him, was with her. So now these brothers are looking at Joseph, right? Joseph, just like you and I, we have endured pain, suffering. Some of you have even, gone through rejection. Joseph, I can imagine him as he's looking at his brothers, with the memories, that his brothers had a hand in this pain, and this suffering and the rejection that he had gone through. When we look at this through our natural eyes, what happened to Joseph, we will say that his brothers had done some damage, right? That they had did some great damage to Joseph. Oh, but when God changes the scene, that which was viewed as a joke, right? Those dreams that was viewed by others as a joke, that idea that you're sharing with, people whom you call friends, people whom you have loved. But when God changed the scene, your dreams and your visions again that you're continuously sharing, and they continue to, continuously, some of you, they may have even laughed in your face. telling you, oh, that's too big for you. How are you going to do that? You don't have money. Nobody knows you. You have to be like so and so in order for that dream or that vision to come to pass, right? Some of you have may have even have someone who tried to kill what you are carrying, and that's what we're talking about tonight. They have they have spoken, ill of you to others, trying to block your productivity. They're trying to, in other words, blackball you. But see, they couldn't see that God had and still has his hands on you. Right while they were trying to sabotage you, kill you. They didn't expect you to come back after your failed attempts, right? They didn't expect for you to come back after a hard time in your business. They didn't expect for you to rise because your first event didn't sell out. So they didn't think that you were going to bounce back, right? Now you have the power and authority and the ability in which now they can't do anything about. That which they thought, again, they sabotaged you. They thought they killed, right? That which they thought they destroyed is now being performed right in front of their very eyes. That's what God wants you to see today. He don't want you to focus on, that pit. He don't want you to focus on that pain or that suffering. He doesn't even want you to focus on the people who, are inflicting this upon you. But he wants you to focus on the fact that he's using it all and he's getting ready to change your scene. He's getting ready to change your appearance, your clothing. He's getting ready to make your name great. You should be excited about that. Now, don't get the big head, when God raises you above your enemies. Be very mindful of your actions that you take when your enemies now begins to see the glory of God on you and within your life. You do not have to throw them in the pit. You don't have to do the same thing they've done to you. You don't have to low rate them, right? You don't have to try and kill, their dreams by seeking again revenge. Listen, what God is getting ready to do through you, that will be enough to bring shame to them, all on themselves. Look at Joseph. Later on, we read further down in the text that his father died, right? Can you imagine, again, when his brothers began to actually know that that was Joseph, that they were now before? Again, the brother whom they hated, whom they thrown into the pit. Now they know the father is dead. Now surely they thought that they were going to die. Surely they thought that, this is a perfect opportunity, for Joseph to get back at us because we didn't do him right. I'm sure those painful images again, played over and over back in Joseph's mind as he begins, to stand facing the ones that left him for dead. Those again who he loved. But instead, he tells his brothers in Genesis chapter 50 verses 19 through 21. Listen at what he says. Do not be afraid, for I am in the place of God. That's powerful because he's saying, I am right where God purposed me to be. I am at peace with you. I have made peace with everything that I have gone through because I know now why I had to endure all of that. It was much bigger than me. It was even greater than what you done to me. It was greater than me being thrown into prison, for a rape that I didn't do. Joseph then says, but as for you, you meant it for evil against me, but God meant it for my good. Everything that you're doing, you're enduring right now. People that are mistreating you, whatever that mistreatment is, yeah, they meant it for your good. For your bad, excuse me. They meant it for your bad, to take you down, to take you out. But God meant it for your good. That means that God was not asleep when they were talking about you. God was not asleep when they got into their little cliques and began to, drop negative talks about you. God was not asleep to any of that. God was not asleep when they began to tell people, don't support you, don't support your events, don't support your cause of what you are doing. God was not asleep to any of that. But in fact, he was putting it all together like a puzzle, because he was and is going to still use it for your good. So he is not asleep to any of that. Then, Joseph says, I will provide for you and your little ones. So here it is, Joseph was hurt bad by his brothers, but he's telling them that, in so many words, that he forgive them. He have peace with that, because he is where God, purposed him to be. And now he can take care of them, right? Because remember, it was a famine in the land. And to get food, you had to come to Joseph. Joseph confronted the brothers, and he spoke kindly to them. He treated them with undeserved favor. My question to you today, is it possible for someone who has been wickedly, evilly been treated, to have cultivated within their hearts love, mercy, and kindness? Is it possible for them to develop and have this kind of heart towards those who have wronged them? Can this person who have been hurt, can they show forgiveness and compassion? Yes, they can. And it's possible because when we know that God was at work, when we're mistreated, it's possible when we know that God is in control, and we can have complete trust in the outcome. So we can have a heart of compassion and kindness, and we can show undeserved favor to those who have hurt us, when we understand that all things work together to the good of them that loves the Lord. So regardless of what you're going through, it's going to all work in your favor. There is no pain that goes unnoticed by God. There is no pain that he will, let becomes a waste. He's going to use it all, because it's not just for you, it's for somebody else. Could it be you, like a Joseph, what God is getting ready to do through you? He's going to tie it all together for you, because you're carrying something that's not only going to bless you and your household, but it's going to bless the world. So again, we can have a heart of forgiveness, compassion, when we understand that God is in control, regardless of how we're being mistreated and misused, right? Because we trust the outcome. We know that the outcome is going to be good, and that's what we focus on. That's what you need to focus on, is that God is in control. And if God is in control, then that means that the outcome is going to work in your favor. And this is very important, that you don't miss this. You have to always check yourself when someone has done something wrong with you. You have to check the attitude of your heart. You have to check the attitude of your heart, which leads me to this life point. Until we can see the big picture, until we can see the greater picture of what God is doing through our pain, through our suffering, through life difficulties, and even through the injustices that we experience, we will surely miss out if we can't see it. We will miss out on the truth that God is using it again for our ultimate good and for His glory. That's what it's all about. It's for His glory. See, God used Joseph's suffering, right, to accomplish His sovereign purpose. Just like He's doing for you right now. God had a plan for the world because of Joseph. Again, if Joseph hadn't gone what he went through, what would that have looked like? There was a famine. Many people would have, starved to death if God hadn't allowed Joseph to go through what he have gone through. And his brothers wouldn't have been able to get what they needed at that time. So don't feel that you're being punished because of your suffering. I know when, we're hurting, it's so easy to say, God, what have I done so wrong for you to allow this to happen? I've said that many of times, and I'm not afraid to say that, and I like to let people know that, even though I have faith, there are times where you do grow weary and you will faint, but you don't stay there. You quickly pull yourself back up together, right? So don't, again, feel that you're being punished for suffering, because God doesn't punish you, for suffering. He's getting ready to use you. If you're going through something and you are a born again believer and God has spoken a word into you and He has shown you what it is that He's going to do through you, but yet you are suffering, no, it's not punishment, because you haven't done anything wrong. And that's the first thing we always think, what have I done wrong? No, sometimes it's what you have not done. It's because of who you are and what God is going to do through you. Only if you can see that it's much greater than that light affliction, that moment of affliction that you are going through. So just like Joseph suffered, so God ultimately saved sinners. So God is going to do the same thing through you, through your pain and through your story. It's going to reach sinners. It's going to revive the born again believers who have, faith. Their faith have become weakened because they're going through so much, and they think that, God, my life does not look like anything that you have shown me. It doesn't look anything like, the promises that I read, for the children of God. Why is that? So God is going to use your pain, your story, to bless others. He's going to use it to set some sinners free. He's going to use it again to revive the born again believers, right? What God has for you is for you. That's what you have to hold on to. I don't care what it looks like. What God has for you is for you. You have to say that to yourself. It does not matter, again, whatever evil intentions that someone planned and plotted against you. It does not matter, because only God's plans will prevail in your life. Only God's plans will prevail in your life. If you can grab a hold of that, you will silence the enemy when he's taunting you, telling you that the plot that he has and the people that he's using, it will silence that when he's telling you that, that will prevail over what God has promised you. So you have to, again, tell yourself that only God's plans will prevail in my life, regardless of the evil intentions that someone has plotted and planned against me. It does not matter. Remember that we may not always understand what is happening to us. We may not understand why we are going through certain things. We may never understand at that time why, is my pain, my struggle so severe than others that I know. Why do it looks like out of my circle, out of my friends and out of my family, why does it look like I'm the only one that's struggling? But I trust God, I love God, and I live for God. Why is my pain so great? So we may not, always understand it at that time, but the Lord is always in control. Again, that's what we need to hold on to. You hold on to it for dear life, because your life does depend on that. That's the only way you're going to go through this. The Lord is always in control. And you can read more of that in Isaiah chapter 46, verses 9 through 10. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 21. And Psalms 46 and 1. I pray that this video, bless you guys, because it has really opened my eyes to some things of, understanding why I had to go through certain things that I'm still going through. But my power is in knowing that I can trust God in my process, right? I can trust that the outcome is going to be great. Why? Because he has a plan and a purpose to use me. He has a purpose and a plan for my pain, not just for me, but for other people. So the next time those urges come up to get angry at those who have, done you wrong. Now, I'm not saying that you have to stay around people, who are mean and nasty till you have done you wrong. No, I'm not saying that at all. You can remove yourself from around them, but don't let your heart become bitter. Don't let your heart become angry, because then now you're blocking, God from fulfilling the promise that he has for your life. So get ready for God to change your wardrobe. Get ready to walk in the power and the authority that you were born and created to walk in. You were created by the best. God loves you. He created all things, so that means that creativity is within you. We all have a purpose. Whatever he has spoken into your spirit, whatever he has shown you and continuously show you, you hold on to that. You hold on to that. Don't let it get away from you. Don't let it get away from you. Just like he did it for Joseph, he can do it for you, because the word of the Lord says that he is no respecter of person. That means that whatever he do for me, he can do for you, and for the next person and the next person. It's all about trusting God in a hard place while seeing the outcome on the other side, while seeing it already worked out. I love you guys. I thank you so much for watching another Fruitful Friday. May God bless you, you and your family, and go about your lives trusting in him, Take your eyes off your problems and keep your eyes on Him, because it will get better. Okay? Be blessed.